Donald Trump will receive no additional penalties after being sentenced in New York this morning.
What the judge had to say today about the sentence and how the incoming president reacted.
Plus, more demand for Austin's cold weather shelters than the city anticipated. We'll tell you how they're responding and how they're working to keep people warm.
Mostly 40s today, but I do promise you warmer temperatures for the weekend. Honestly, we'll talk about it all in First Morning Weather.
In-depth, investigative. This is KXAN News at Noon.
Incoming President Donald Trump received a penalty-free sentence today for his conviction in the hush money case.
The incoming president is now a convicted felon in the eyes of New York state law. We've been following these legal developments for a long time, and this has seen many challenges in the court. This afternoon, John Mueller is joining us live in New York with the latest on the sentencing. Hi there, John.
How you doing, guys? Well, once again, history made here in New York Criminal Court, the courthouse behind me. Donald Trump is officially a sentenced felon, which means it really goes into the legal books like that. That sentence handed down earlier this morning. Mr. Trump zoomed into the courtroom from his Florida estate. The judge sentencing Mr. Trump to an unconditional discharge. That means no jail time, no probation, no fines. It puts this conviction essentially to rest. Now, Mr. Trump desperately tried to prevent this from happening. He did not want to get sworn in as a sentenced felon. He appealed all the way to the Supreme Court. That did not happen. He is guilty of 34 counts of falsifying business records. This is tied to the Stormy Daniels case, the hush money that was paid to Stormy Daniels. She is the porn star that convicted Mr. Trump of having an affair with her, and this all went down right before the 2016 election. Mr. Trump, for his part, he addressed the court via Zoom, saying what we've heard him say before, that this is a witch hunt and this is a disgrace. But the fact is now it's an interesting legal avenue for the Trump team potentially to exploit. Now that the sentence has been given and it is official, they can try to have the verdict overturned on appeal. They will certainly do that, but one way or the other, in 10 days, Mr. Trump will be sworn in as president, and he will be the first sentenced felon ever to be sworn in as president. Reporting live from Lower Manhattan, I'm John Mueller. Back to you guys.
John, thank you so much for tracking this for us. Any other interesting reaction from people there in New York or anything else from those proceedings that's of note for our audience here in Texas?
Well, really, you saw protesters on both sides, pro-Trump, anti-Trump, just like it's been. There's been a lot less security because, of course, he's not here. The judge, for his part, said he did not want to wait 4 years for Mr. Trump's presidency to end before imposing a sentence. He felt that that was kind of disrespectful to the jury and the prosecutors and the people that went through seeing this legal case out. He wanted to get that sentence in. So that's where we are right now in New York. Guys, back to you.
John Mueller reporting live for us again in New York. Thanks again for being with us. We appreciate it.
First Warning Weather.
We want to take a live look now over downtown Austin, where we are still seeing those clouds hanging around. Although I do like to see that bug in the corner. Just look under the KXAN. It says 41 degrees now. You hear Rich celebrating because it has been tough for us to get out of the 30s. I know we've been chilly. So what does this mean for us? Are we still on the up and up?
We're going to climb a few more degrees before the day is over, and then we've got the sun tomorrow. As a matter of fact, we are starting to see some clearing approaching the hill country. And that's another big. All right, here's what it looks like. Clouds and radar. No rain. We just seen an increase in the cloudiness this morning. You know, if you were with us on KXAN News today or our CW Austin Morning Show, we were showing you some of our camera shots that depicted some blue sky. But on the back side of the upper low, which gave us the rain yesterday, we saw the overcast start to move in after about 9 o'clock or so. So we are overcast for a good portion of our area now. But out in McCulloch County, we're starting to see just west of 190, a little bit of sunshine there, and that clearing will continue as long as that upper low continues to move to the north and east, and we'll show that to you later on during the hour. All right, we did have, let's go back to that. We had a few reports of sleet yesterday early afternoon, one at Buchanan Dam, one at Serenada. And those were the only two sleet reports. And then we also had reports of freezing rain in Dawson, a couple of reports just to the northwest of Fredericksburg and in Fredericksburg. But the big story, if you want to call it that, was that there was some snow reported in Fredericksburg shortly after 10 o'clock last night. All right, this is the view. Nope, it's not the view I wanted to show. Here is the current temperature profile for the area. We've actually dropped a degree in Austin. We were at 41 earlier, but right now mostly mid and upper 30s to around 40, lower 40s across portions of Fayette County. Winds are gusty, so that 40 in Austin feels much colder with a wind gust of 26. Most gusts are in the 20s, up to 32 at Craddock Field and Burnett, and at 31 at the airport at Cameron. These gusts will continue through the afternoon. These gusts combined with the air temperature, it feels like 33 in Austin right now. 20s across the hill country, and these numbers will not change much during the day. When the clouds clear, well, talk about weekend warmth as well, and looking back at some rain totals. That made us smile in the weather office yesterday and today. Avery?
Rich, thank you so much. The city of Austin's cold weather shelters are seeing more people than it originally planned. The shelters opened Sunday night, seeing hundreds of guests since then, and that number just kept growing.
This building is where people needing shelter register for an overnight stay. If we can bring up that video, they then get bused to one of the city's 3 shelters. Shelter officials say the goal is to not turn away anyone, but in order to do that, they had to move around some things. Earlier this week, the city's Public Safety Commission heard a briefing about winter weather response. It said the city could shelter 300 people. Each night, though, has had more than 200 guests. And on Wednesday, the shelters had 340 guests. Our team spoke to Greg McCormick. He's the program manager for the Homeless Strategy Office with the City of Austin. He says the city and the Austin Area Urban League, which helps run the shelters, added beds where they could. Now, just a reminder, these shelters hold 100 people each already.
And despite already having more people than they planned for, McCormick says the shelters are not experiencing overcrowding. They say a big difference with this freeze is that the city adjusted when it opens the shelters. Before that would happen if the forecast dipped below 32 degrees, but now that number is when the temperatures are expected to be around 35 degrees. McCormick says that really allows them to get the word out about the shelters before the brunt of the cold rolls in, and that helps people who need shelter plan ahead.
Many of them were thankful of being able to know a day in advance, or for this week, even a week in advance, so that they could plan to be able to come in and know that they would be safe overnight.
McCormick says the city adjusted its shelter layout on Thursday and allowed people to stay for 24 hours because of the rainfall we experienced. Most of those people did, with just over 200 choosing to stay. With another cold night ahead, the city extended its shelter operations through overnight Friday, and if the need calls for it, they could activate a 4th shelter.
Airlines canceled more than 1,600 flights in and out of airports in the Dallas-Fort Worth area yesterday. Crews have been de-icing planes and runways. Sleet and, of course, that snow changed plans for thousands of passengers. The Dallas-Fort Worth airport is half empty. From reports up there, some flights were just delayed, though not canceled. We heard from Christy Adams, who eventually made it back to Las Vegas.
All of us were determining, should we leave or should we stay at the hotel? But the hotel's booked because of the football game that's supposed to happen. So we're hoping we're going to make it out.
If you are flying into Dallas, or if you happen to have a connecting flight there this weekend, try to arrive early and double check whether your flight is delayed or still going on time.
Meanwhile, Austin's airport saw several flights canceled yesterday as well. Your airline, though, will have any information on canceled flights. The airport does not make that call. The airport did say that teams pre-staged equipment to clear the tarmac if needed. They could also wrap pipes to prevent any water leaks, and they also kept an eye on any icy conditions that could develop on the upper levels of some of the airport's parking garages. For now, the airport is waiting to see what the weather will bring and will respond accordingly.
Making sure that our teams are prepared for any icy weather that comes our way. But for now, the forecast doesn't seem like it, but it's Texas, so you never know.
The airport is reminding people that if they're flying out, check on their flight status and stay in touch with their airline for the most up-to-date information. Police are sharing some more information on a homicide from this week. The latest from investigators coming up.
And we are still seeing some of these cold temperatures lingering. We know that this can affect our animals and pets. We're going to have a discussion about how to keep those pets safe and reminders for you about what Texas laws say.
Happy Friday, everybody, and thanks again for being with us on KXAN News at noon right now. We are showing you my favorite view of all of our weather cameras out there, and Rich knows this about me, so he did this, and I want to say thank you, Rich.
You're welcome.
It's a view of Llano at the moment, where your clouds are hanging around there, but hopefully we're going to see the sun break out at points as well. We'll get a full look at the forecast and a very nice weekend ahead coming up in just a few moments with Rich. Now, all the cold weather we're experiencing is a reminder out there that our state has laws to protect your pets during times like this. Texas law says a dog can only be restrained outside if they have access to shelter that protects them from bad weather. The dog must also be able to stand, sit, turn around, and lie down in that shelter. Texas Penal Code says that you must provide food, water, care, and shelter to your pets.
Be kind to your animals. They depend on you to take care of them, and they're very loyal. So let's return the favor and be loyal to them and take care of them. Just provide, food and water for them, provide cover for them, provide shelter for them.
You can also call your county's animal control if you do see stray dogs in need of warm shelter.
Our KXAN viewers have been sending us in some awesome pictures of ice covering parts of the hill country. This could make for some slick spots on the drive. I know Rich is tracking a lot of that melting, but especially on bridges and elevated surfaces, just be extra safe, because this is some of the scenes we saw around the hill country yesterday, mostly on those trees. I'm actually going to have a report for you guys coming up later on KXAN News at 5 about how ice can weigh down power lines, take down branches. We've got an update from Austin Energy on what they're doing to trim to prevent some of that from happening.
Excellent.
There's my little tease for you guys.
All right. One more thing about pets. We say this a lot during the summer when we do our dog walking forecast. If it's hot enough for you, it's hot enough for them. Same thing here. If it's too cold for you, it's too cold for them.
Important things to remember.
Yes, indeed. All right, we got very excited this morning when we arrived in the weather office and started calculating rain totals from yesterday. And I'm telling you, we had some healthy rain, even though it arrived a little bit later than first forecast. So out in the hill country at some of these reporting stations, we averaged about an inch, and they're about 0.90 at Mason and San Saba, up to 1.35 at Burnett. That gauge at the Pedernales River in Fredericksburg picked up more than an inch. On I-35, 9400ths at Georgetown, 84 at Mabry, a 3/4 inch rain total at San Marcos. But you go east of that area, and we are looking at 177 at LaGrange, 164 at Bastrop, 146 at Lockhart, and 128 at Giddings. Boy, that was really nice. A quick look at the radar up in North Texas continues to see a few snow flurries falling in parts of an area between Fort Worth on over to Arlington. This is going to be gone here in the next several hours. Avery, it'll be gone by the time you make your trek up I-35. For the game this evening, now we know the game is outdoors, but we're just showing you tailgaters and the pep rally starting at 4 o'clock. Temperature will be in the mid to upper 30s under the clouds, and we'll see some gradual clearing by the 6:30 kickoff. Outdoor temperature will be about 34. This morning, the pollen count low for both cedar and mold, and both lower in number than yesterday, so that's also some good news. This, not so much. Upper 30s to low and mid 40s for high temperatures today on a day where the normal high is 62. It'll be colder, though, because of these gusty winds. By 2 to 3:30, we're looking at some wind gusts in the 20s, maybe even a few off to the east in the 30s, and then those gusts will start to subside. And by 7 o'clock tonight, we're down to some gusts at around 10 to 15. Lows tomorrow morning, an area-wide freeze. Just about all of us will be in the 20s and some number. 20-degree low forecast for Llano and Mason, could be in the upper teens in the outlying areas. And then a southwest wind Saturday afternoon will find most temperatures in the mid 50s. All right, there's the low I was talking about in the first segment. That low is moving towards the east, and as it does, it'll take the clouds with it later on today, and that'll leave us with the sunshine that we have for tomorrow and Sunday. And here's a better look at it as we see the clouds gradually clear from northwest to southeast during the day. I don't think that will be completely clear at 6 o'clock, but we will tonight through tomorrow morning, and then tomorrow a bright day and temperatures noticeably warmer. As far as the future, not much going on past that. We are looking at just some clouds increasing through the week, but at least for now, this is the European model that says no precipitation at all. 43 for the high today. 56 for the high tomorrow, 60 on Sunday, back to the 50s Monday and Tuesday. Will be partly cloudy Wednesday, Thursday with highs around 60 degrees. And then after that cold morning tomorrow, it'll stay cold, but not in the 20s. Will be mostly low to mid 30s Sunday through Wednesday. We will be right back.
Americans across a large portion of the country rang in the new year with cold temperatures and, for some, lots of snow. So as we all settle into 2025, we want to take a brief pause and look back at last year.
Today, NASA and NOAA are releasing their annual outlook on global temperatures. We want to bring in our senior science reporter, Eric Henriksen, now, who is actually speaking with NASA today about how 2024 temperatures compare to previous years.
Hey guys, good morning. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you. Joining us now is NASA oceanographer Dr. Ivana Cetinich. Ivana, thank you so much for speaking with us today. What did 2024 look like? What was the weather last year?
Well, the weather was very variable, but overall, like, we know that 2024 was the warmest year on our record. NASA and our record go back to the end of the 19th century, and once we take this global record and average everything out, 2024 was the warmest year, and when we compare it with average, it was 1.3 degrees Celsius, which is 2.3 degrees Fahrenheit warmer than our average. So it was just continuing record of this 10 now warmest years just in a row, showing us that we're on this, like, really climate trend of increasing temperature all over the globe.
Now here in Texas, we had kind of a coolish summer, and then it got really hot in our fall, and then really weirdly warm in the winter. How does that compare to the rest of the country?
Well, each different parts of the country has, its different climates. So, like, we saw really, really destructive hurricanes hitting, areas that usually they're not hit that strong, Carolinas and so on. And then you had crazy rainstorms like in the West Coast brought by the atmospheric river, and then the droughts and so on. So what you're seeing across the country, you're seeing like these things that kind of we always see, but they're just kind of happening in a weird time, or they're happening a little bit more explosive, a little bit more extreme. So stronger rainfalls, drier, longer droughts, stronger hurricanes, everything is just becoming more extreme because of that excess of heat, excess of temperature in the system.
Now, studying these new extreme weather events that we're having is a little easier now. We had 2 satellites launched last year. Can you give me an overview? What were those satellites? What are they going to do? How do they help us here on Earth?
Definitely. First satellite I'm going to mention is NOAA's GOES satellite, and that's a satellite that meteorologists usually use and rely so heavily on to understand the weather. That's a satellite that looks all the time at the Earth and gives you just beautiful snapshots where you can follow the clouds moving and things happening. But this satellite also looks towards the space and allows us some knowledge about the space weather. But PACE, and which is the satellite that I work on, is a satellite that kind of looks at, kind of like gives you a little bit more color, a little bit more information. PACE looks at the ocean. It's capable of resolving the diversity of the life in the ocean to inform us about the fisheries, harmful algal bloom event, quality of the water. And on the other side, also atmosphere. It gives us information about air quality and also how the clouds and aerosols, these little particles in the air, interact to impact our climate, but also impact our day-to-day weather.
And based on what we've learned about last year and all of our previous decades of data, are we doomed? What does the future look like for us on Earth?
I don't think we ever are going to be. I mean, we are as species doomed, but I think what we know now, thanks to the amount of data that we have, we know what the reason is for this. We know it's driven by the human emissions of the greenhouse gases. So from there on, we right away have the answer. If we start changing our behavior, we can still modify this continuing trend of the increase in global temperature.
Dr. Ivana Sentinich, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
And Eric, thank you for bringing us that conversation. We appreciate it. Coming up, firefighters in Southern California keep fighting deadly wildfires in the Los Angeles area. The latest coming up after this.
In the wake of these devastating fires, many people have stepped up to help. We're going to highlight some of the good people are doing and show you how you can help from here.
In-depth, investigative. This is KXAN News at Noon.
Thanks so much for joining us. We do have a breaking news update for you on this midday. One person is now in custody following a bomb threat at an H-E-B store in Northwest Austin.
Now, despite that threat, Austin police updated us this afternoon, noting they found no explosive device. Austin police say this all took place just after 8 this morning at the store on North FM 620 near 4 Points Drive. They received a call about an unoccupied suspicious vehicle in the store's parking lot. The department's bomb squad was sent there and investigated the vehicle and found no explosive device inside, giving the all clear. One person, as we mentioned, has been taken into custody now, with police identifying him as 44-year-old Gerard Hayes. He is currently being taken to the Travis County Jail and facing a felony terroristic threat charge.
H-E-B told us earlier today there were no reported injuries. They do want people to know the store was cleared, but it will still be temporarily closed as authorities investigate the situation. Police say there is no threat to the public. So as we get more details on this case, we'll continue to update you in this story. You can find it on KXAN.com. Another update from Austin police. They're telling us more about a murder that happened early Thursday morning, marking Austin's second homicide of the year.
Officers responded to a call at an apartment complex off Manor Road in East Austin. The 911 caller reported a body in a parking lot. KXAN's Mercedes Hernandez joins us now here in the studio with more about what police shared. Hi there, Mercedes.
Hi there. Yes, this was a story that we initially brought to folks as breaking news in our morning broadcast. Now, I was one of the team members out there just hours after the crime happened. We saw forensics teams and police officers shining their flashlights in that parking lot, collecting evidence. AP hopes that today's update will get them closer to putting all the pieces together and finding a killer. According to APD, dispatch got the call just before 2 Thursday morning. The caller said they found a woman lying in the parking lot in a pool of blood. At the scene, officers said the woman had obvious signs of trauma to the neck and was pronounced dead at the scene just 30 minutes after that 911 call was made. APD has since identified the victim as 35-year-old Kelly Maisel. What we learned today is that she is believed to have been experiencing homelessness at the time of her death, and that right now no suspects have yet to be identified. The detective that gave today's update said the biggest challenge has been a lack of forthcomingness from people where this happened. He says one tip could be the key to finding out who did this and why.
It does not matter to me what her lifestyle was or her choices was or why she was where she was at. I don't care about any of that. I want to bring justice for her. I want to get justice for her family, and I want to get the people who are violent enough to do what they did off the streets.
APD says this appears to be an isolated incident and that there's no larger threat to the public. They are asking for help to find the person that committed this crime. Anyone with information can report it to APD at 512-974-TIPS or the Capital Area Crime Stoppers at 512-472-8477. There may be a reward of $1,000 for any information that leads to an arrest.
First warning weather.
Mercedes, thank you for that update. We appreciate it. Let's take a live look now from out in Llano at the moment, where we see cloud coverage hanging around today, much like what we're experiencing all across Central Texas at the moment, Avery.
I've already got my eyes. I'm about to leave town and head up to where it's a very different view, snow-covered ground. But I know here we just saw a little damp from all the rain we got on the ground. Rich, what's going on out there?
Well, right now it's just quiet. We've got an overcast sky for most of the area, but I'm starting to see a little more of this clearing in the northwestern portion of San Saba County that will continue for the rest of the afternoon. We'll stay cloudy on the whole, but the mid to late afternoon, especially late afternoon, we're starting to see the sun come out generally from the hill country to I-35, and if the clearing is fast enough, where we may be area-wide sunny before the sun goes down. Hill country temperatures are still in the upper half of the 30s at most locations. It is 33 at Harper to 40 at Kingsland. Metro community are in the upper 30s to a few at 40 to 42. It's 40 at Taylor, 40 at Lakeway, 39 at Driftwood, and 38 both at Buda and at Florence. And if we take a look at the east, we're looking at deep into the 30s to several in the lower half of the 40s. It's 41 at Bastrop, 43 at Cedar Creek, and also at Weimar. Wind gusts are still quite high. 33 at Craddock Field at Burnett, 32 at the Gillespie County Airport at Fredericksburg. Wind gusts near 30 at both Cameron and Rockdale. We're getting a wind gust at Camp Mabry at 26. And so this is what it actually feels like as you step out the door. We're feeling a wind chill in the mid and upper 20s in the hill country, upper 20s to low 30s for many sections along and east of I-35. Not much of a change in temperatures for the rest of the afternoon. If anything, the only thing that does change is the amount of cloud cover that we see between 1 and 3. We start seeing a little more sun and then even more as we get to the 5 o'clock hour. We have a radar view from Arlington. Avery, you're going to pay attention to that when we return in just a few minutes.
Rich, thank you. I will be sure to be paying attention. Thanks for all the updates.
Right.
In more headlines for you today, now in your 12:30 hour, 4 people are without a home after a house fire here last night.
The home burned in southeast Austin on Riverside Farms Road, just south of Riverside Drive. Firefighters got there at about 8:30 last night. While everyone made it out safely, the home is considered a total loss. Samuel Grayhorse says he and his family will be okay.
This is not something that you wish on anybody, and it's unbelievable how the universe works, but we're going to be okay. Everybody came out safe, and the fire department came out here, and it's devastating.
Now, if you don't recognize him by name, you may have seen Grayhorse, though, around Austin. He often dresses up as Santa and rides a horse or a mule around town at Christmas time. Here's some video of him in 2022. He started doing it about 13 years ago, and he's also a touring artist, so we'll be thinking of him and his family as they recover from that. We do want to turn now to the devastating wildfires in California.
Dry conditions and very powerful winds are still feeding at least 5 different fires. We want to show you a live look from the Los Angeles area at this moment. There you can see on the left side of your screen what appears to be the Griffith Observatory. If you've ever had a chance to visit the LA area and gone there, the view from there is incredible. But this shot showing that there is smoke rising above the hilltops and mountaintops there, and a hazy glaze is hanging there in that area as these fires keep burning.
Scenes like that all over from iconic locations in the Los Angeles area, with the smoke and the flames so close to so many people's homes, so many of those locations. Now, in the latest update, officials reported the fire has killed at least 10 people. It's also forced around 180,000 people out of their homes. The Palisades fire in particular has burned through around 20,000 acres at this point. To give you some perspective, that is more than 30 square miles. Over the past few days, we've seen some of those horrific images of destruction, but we've also witnessed some scenes of really the best of humanity.
NBC's Liz Kreutz spoke with residents on the ground there who decided to stay in their neighborhoods and help out people nearby in their greatest time of need.
Shocking scenes still unfolding in Southern California, where flames continue to swallow up everything in sight. For Brianna Navarro, the loss unimaginable.
She loved her family.
She says her 83-year-old grandmother, Arlene Kelly, died inside her home.
It's devastating. We didn't expect to lose her so tragically.
Still burned for hours and hours.
Some residents becoming heroes.
You can see that tree was on fire.
When Scott Kay saw flames encroaching the street, he turned off gas lines and picked up garden hoses. He jumped in to fight the flames with a small team of neighbors.
I can't control any of this, but I can turn on a garden hose, you know. And I can turn off a gas line, so I can do what I can control.
And those small things made a big difference.
I don't know if they did or not.
Number of homes didn't burn, but yeah, Scott definitely saved a lot.
What do you want to say to Scott?
I think he is a hero.
In Pasadena, a crowd gathering overnight to hand out supplies for fire victims. Houses of worship, including this synagogue, opening doors to those in need.
This is now a refuge for the entire community, not just the Jewish community.
And first responders showing resilience in the face of adversity. In Altadena, courageously hopping over fences to rescue animals surrounded by fire. And star Jamie Lee Curtis, whose neighborhood was destroyed, pledging $1 million to relief efforts. Actor James Woods highlighting a local pharmacy that's helping provide evacuees with critical medications. The pharmacy's owner saying not helping was never an option.
That's just what community pharmacy does. We definitely put others before ourselves.
Doesn't matter how many times I see that story, that brings a tear to my eye, that quote there. Pretty incredible stuff. We wanted to go in depth here and show you, many of the images you are seeing when you hear about these fires may make you wonder how you can help from here in Texas. And on our website right now, we've compiled a list of links where you can either make a donation to help California families who have found themselves suddenly without a home. There are also some links to support emergency responders and wildlife organizations as well.
So many ways to assist. And coming up tonight, join Lester Holt and the NBC News team for a special providing in-depth coverage of those deadly, destructive wildfires that are still burning in California. Fire and Ash Devastation in LA will tackle the impact of these fires on the communities, the environment, and the first responders. That special airs tonight at 9 o'clock.
Still to come here on KXAN as we continue to cover these California fires. There may be new technology on the horizon to help with fires in the future. We're taking a look and have the latest from the Consumer Electronics Show.
Happy Friday, everybody, and thanks again for sticking with us here on KXAN News at noon. The time is 12:44. A cloudy look there live right now at the Circuit of the Americas racetrack. We'll get an update on your forecast for not only Friday, but also going into the weekend with Rich here in just a few moments. Now, as we've been telling you all day today, wildfires have been devastating areas of Southern California, but there might be some new technology that could help in the future. Rich DeMuro went to the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas and takes a look at the latest in disaster tech.
Rich DeMuro here, Rich on Tech in Las Vegas at CES 2025, where the wildfires have impacted this show as well in a unique way. Many attendees from Los Angeles either didn't come at all or they had to go home early to check on the situation back at home. And everyone at the show, so many attendees came up to me to express their best wishes for everyone in Los Angeles impacted. Now, with that in mind, we decided to scour the show floor for any technology that might help in an emergency situation. At CES 2025 in Las Vegas, in addition to the gadgets and AI, another key topic, the devastating wildfires in Los Angeles.
I'm also one of the people who live in California who's also very concerned about wildfires.
Disaster tech has always been on display. Now it's being noticed.
We're always looking at how we can be more proactive in detecting threats and also environmental threats.
Kidda, one of the most recognizable safety brands out there.
It used to be about 20 years ago that you had 17 minutes to escape a house fire. That time has now been reduced to 2 minutes or less, and that is if you have a working smoke alarm.
Open floor plans, synthetic materials, and lithium-ion batteries make today's homes burn faster and hotter.
A living room from a lithium-ion battery fire can go up in 45 seconds.
Juan Cloud makes an AI-powered video camera. When it sees fire or smoke, it sounds an alarm to activate water suppression systems. While Innova NanoJet cleans smoke, particles, and more from the air without filters or chemicals.
What we're able to do is to spray into the air trillions of nano-sized water droplets. And what those do is they go and engulf all the particulate matter in the atmosphere and then drop it down to the ground and inactivate it.
They're donating systems in the LA area. Their booth did seem to have cleaner, fresher air than the vicinity. Drones used to get a bad name, but they're increasingly helpful in disaster planning and relief.
When you have planes and helicopters, they're a little bit higher up. When you have a drone, you're getting centimeter level data sometimes. You can understand individual trees, individual plants, individual structures better. and they're also easy to use.
Now the idea is to have them help fight fires too.
So people using very, very large drones, almost the size of small planes, flying in formation to actually help put out fires. So not just disaster recovery, but also helping to prevent the worst that a disaster can do, especially when it comes to fires.
I think what's most interesting to me throughout all of this is that when disaster strikes, you've got all the technology in the world. It may or may not help, but it's really the humans that go back to their basics, and they just want to help each other in any way that they can. Now, if you want more information on any of the solutions I showed you, go to my website, richontech.tv. In Las Vegas, I'm Rich DeMuro. That's Rich on Tech.
Thank you, Rich on Tech. This is Rich on Weather here. The time now is 12:48. Still seeing some snow flying across parts of the Metroplex right now. Most of that is in the Arlington area, extending on over to Fort Worth, southward through Burleson and down to El Dorado. This snow will not last much longer, and by the time the game starts this evening, the weather will be dry and perhaps even a partly cloudy sky. Yes, I know the game is indoors, but we wanted this forecast for the tailgaters because some of you haven't left yet and may be thinking about going up there. These are the temperatures at tailgate time in the pep rally that starts at 4 o'clock. All right, temperatures today will not get out of the 40s, and some of you may not even get out of the 30s today. And part of that will even be because of these strong wind gusts. Right now, we're getting some wind gusts as high as 25 to 30 miles per hour. As we get to about 4 o'clock today, we're still seeing 20 to 25, but we start noticing out in San Saba and Mason counties, these gusts start to die off, so that by 7:30 tonight, we're getting some wind gusts of about 10 to 15, and those gusts will start to subside even more as we start the morning tomorrow, which will then lead to some bone-chilling low temperatures in the 20s area wide, some low to mid-20s off to the east, some upper teens to low 20s in our hill country communities, and so you'd be best advised to get that slow drip starting now. Wind chill, this is 9 o'clock tonight. We already have wind chill below 32 at many locations, which means it only gets worse. This is tomorrow morning, 7:30, wind chills in the mid-teens forecast at Mason, mostly the low to mid-20s for the rest of the area, so be prepared, and then we will warm nicely. Notice the wind arrows going north. That means the southwest wind and temperatures climbing into mostly the mid-50s. We say goodbye to the rainmaker and the cloud maker for this afternoon, and that will be replaced by the sunshine tomorrow as the flow goes zonal. And here's a better depiction of the clouds clearing through the rest of the afternoon on into tonight. A clear sky expected tonight, and then just seeing a few passing clouds and then sunshine tomorrow. And not much going on all week long. We'll just have scattered clouds Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday into Thursday. And let's just get past this map and go to the forecast for today. 43 with a northwest wind, 10 to 15 and gusty. Clouds clear late in the morning. 27 outlying areas, low to mid-20s. 56 tomorrow afternoon, 60 on Sunday, a little cooling Monday, Tuesday, warming back to near 60 or thereabout Wednesday and Thursday. Will?
Thanks so much, Rich. Here is why cleaning snow from your car is so important. We're going to show you this video, pretty scary, coming up after this. And a look at what's coming up tonight on KXAN. At 7 o'clock, it's Happy's Place, followed by Lopez versus Lopez at 7:30. Then at 8, it's Dateline NBC. You can also join us back here for KXAN News at 10. Here is a reminder for anyone who might be traveling up north to make sure that you clean off any snow that gets built up on your car. This footage released by police in East Kansas shows a block of compacted snow flying off of a vehicle and smashing into that truck's windshield there. Thankfully, the driver of the truck only received some minor cuts from the glass that broke away and was able to safely stop his car. Now, police would like to advise drivers to do a little better when cleaning off any snow and ice, and that this particular incident could have been so much worse.
You guys, I'm about to drive to Arlington. Why would you show me this?
I know, that is the stuff of nightmares right there.
Now I'm terrified.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well,
is this a message from my producers in there? Do y'all want me to hang around here in Austin or something?
Rethink that trip, though. I don't know. Yeah.
I might be now. All right. Well.
But that was in East Kansas, so there was a little bit worse conditions. It looks like.
Yeah. We didn't have that here.
I know.
We had flurries in Fredericksburg, and that was about the sum extent of any snow that this area saw.
Listen, driving on I-35 is a danger in and of itself.
That's true. That's true. Don't forget to stop at Buc-ee's on your way up there, too. And bring us back something for next week. All right, here is the weekend forecast. I'm showing you this because I just want to show you some warmth. Make it a warm weekend, mid-50s tomorrow, around 60 on Sunday, and then a little cooling early next week. And that's what we have right now. Temperatures this afternoon not getting out of the 30s in some areas, but the 40s for most.
Hopefully a bit of an easier day. You guys have had some busy days the last few days, our weather team.
Well, they certainly have, because I was off yesterday. You have a good time in Arlington tonight and cheer for us.
Well, you know I'm going to have both horns up. As always, you know, we'll see. If I come, thanks, Rich, just for me. Oh, see, this is what I know we got to cut out of the show now.
One for you.
One?
Yeah, that's all. That's all you can get.
One half Bookham, I'll take
all
it.
The good luck. All right, everybody. Avery, you enjoy your drive up to Arlington, and I hope that all of you enjoy the rest of your Friday afternoon and your weekend. Take care. We'll see you back here soon.